Hello Twilights, welcome back to Twilight Corner. So in today's video I'm going to be explaining you the chapter 1 of Beehive, that is the fun they had, and this is an NCERT textbooks chapter for class 9, that is English. So let's start, but before we start, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Twilight Corner, and also share this video with your friends so that they can also learn. So let's start this chapter, and then the chapter's name is The Fun They Had, and then the poet's name is Isaac Asimov. So let's start. So before you read, the story we shall read is set in the future. So the story which we are going to be reading is in the future. So when books and schools as we know now then will perhaps not exist. So in the school that we have, right, the offline schoolings, interactive teachers, the students, right, we interact with our friends, so all that will not be existing in the future. And then the books that we have, the printed books, right, that will also not be in the future. So what, that's the chapter, right? So how will children study then? So how will the children in the future study, right? So the diagram below may help, right? So this will give us an idea. The diagram which is given below will give us some ideas about how the children will learn. So we have a diagram on the schools of the future. So let's see. So first of all, we have virtual classroom. So in this picture, I'll just zoom it in. So yeah, so in this picture we can see a boy. Okay, he has a room, right? He's sitting on a chair, and then he has a whole setup of a computer, television, whatever you want to say. It's a computer actually. So over there he's doing online schooling, right? So we used to have online schools, right? We used to have online classes in the lockdown, so that would be one case. And then we have the kids learning through computers, and then we have robotic teachers, and then we have moving e-text. Now, when we talk about moving e-text, it's not the text, right? The letters which are still, they won't be still, they won't be saturated at one place. It'll be moving, like when you see the newspaper headlines, right? The text will be moving. So that's the case. So let's scroll. Yeah. So in pairs, discuss 3 things that you like best about your school and 3 things about your school that you would like to change. So you're going to just discuss them and then you're going to write them down, okay? So have you ever read words on a television or computer screen? So right now I'm reading words from a television, I'm reading words from a computer screen, right? So can you imagine a time when all books will be on computers? So right now we have to purchase books, right? But then can you imagine a time where all of these books that we have, right, they will be on computers and computer screens or televisions, right? Or the mobile phones that we have, and there will be no books printed on paper. So whatever books that we have printed on paper, they won't be there. So what would be the scenario? Imagine. So would you like such books better? So would it be a good investment on computers or buying actual books? Comment down below, okay? So now let's start with the actual thing. So we have the first paragraph here. So we have 2 characters introduced in this. First, I'll read it out so I can explain it to you, and then I'll tell you more about it. So Margie. So Margie over here is a girl, right? She's a character in this whole story. So Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary. So Margie gave a diary entry. She wrote a diary entry at one night. Now, on the page headed 17th of May 2157, she wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book." So the day when she was writing, it was the 17th of May in the year 2157. And then over here, there's this guy named Tommy, okay? There's this boy named Tommy, and this guy is Margie's friend, okay? And then this Tommy found a real book. So it was a very old book. So the book that Tommy found, right, it was very old and crinkly, right? So Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather, so Margie's grandfather was there, right? He said that, you know what, when my when you know, when he was a little boy, right? When he was a little boy, his grandfather. So this book belongs to his grandfather's grandfather, Margie's grandfather, and then his grandfather, right? So Margie's grandfather said Margie that, you know, when his grandfather had told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. So all of the stories which we are reading right now, All of this is printed on paper, so that there used to be a time like that. So they turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly. So the what were the characteristics of that page? It was yellow and crinkly. It was brownish type, right? Whenever you look at the old books, you will see that the corner pages is, if it's stored for a very long time, you'll see that the pages will turn yellow, it'll be a little crinkly and old type, right? So, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to. Now, when we are talking about this generation in the future, they had moving e-text. And for them, it was really funny, that the words were still. And then, yeah, on a screen, And then when they turned back to the page before, it had the same words on it that it had when they read it the first time. So when they had read the first page, right, when they turned back, they saw that the pages were still, they were still there, and then the letters on that page will be still there itself. They didn't change. So that was really, curious, or really exciting for them, I guess. Or it was really strange for them. So let's see the second paragraph. "Gee," said Tommy, "what a waste. When you're through with a book, you just throw it away, I guess." So over here, Tommy is saying, "Gee, what a waste. You're just wasting pages here. When you're done with a book, you just throw it away. Our television screen must have had a million books on it." So the television screen they have a lot of books on it. So, and it's good for plenty more. So it has a lot of storage for more books, right? So I wouldn't throw it away. So now when we talk about books, printed books, you read them and then you throw them away, or you just store them, right? But then you don't read it again. You may, but still. But then when you talk about television screen, television screens have a value, right? They can store good old more books than the books that we're buying, right? So yeah, that's what's kind of explained here. Same with mine, said Margie. So Margie is agreeing with what is Tommy telling, right? Whatever Tommy is telling, Margie is agreeing. She has 11. She was 11. So over here, Margie's age is what? She's 11 years old. All right. And hadn't seen as many tele books as Tommy had. He was 13. So over here, Tommy's age is 13 and then Margie's age is 11. So she's obviously younger, right? And then she hasn't seen much telebooks, right? As Tommy has read, because he's a little older, so obviously has read more books. So she said, "Where did you find it?" "In my house." He pointed without looking because he was busy reading. "In the attic." "What's it about?" "School." So over here, Margie is telling, "Where did you find this book?" So Tommy said, "I found this in my house," and then he didn't, he just pointed it without looking because he was busy reading the book. And then he pointed at the attic. Now you'll think, what is an attic? So it's kind of like a storeroom, right? It's a storeroom below the roof. So that's an attic. And she asked, "What's the topic of this book?" So he said, "School." So Margie was scornful. So Margie was like, so worthless. She was scornful, okay? School, she hated school, okay? So this whole line shows that she hated school actually. So what's there to write about school? I hate school. As I told, she hated school. So she's like, what's there to write about school? You just have to learn and then go home. You're just at home, but you're just learning and learning and learning. There's no fun in school. I just hate school. That's the point of view for Margie. So Margie always hated school, but now she hated it even more than ever. So she always hated school in the before past, right? But now she even hates it more. Why does she hate it? Let's see. So the mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully, and Sent for the county inspector. Okay. So now what is happening is Marky is hating on school. Why is she hating on school? Again, over here, the mechanical teacher, I'll show you the picture of the mechanical teacher. Yeah, so just imagine this is your mechanical teacher, all right, and then he is giving Margie a lot of homework, and then homework is fine at one case, but then this mechanical teacher has been giving test after test in the case for geography. So Margie has been giving test after test, and then she has been giving this in geography, so she has been doing worse in that. So that's the case. So what happened was that she was doing worse and worse. So what the mother did was, the mother for the whole thingy, that mechanical teacher, right, she is sorrowfully like shake that head, not the, yeah, she shake the head for Margie, not the mechanical teacher, okay, and sent for the county inspector. Okay, she shake the head for that mechanical teacher, and then she sent it to the county inspector. Over here, the county inspector is going to be fixing that mechanical teacher, because he has been giving a lot of geography tests, and then she has been getting worse in that. So her mother wanted to know what's happening. So let's see the next paragraph, right? So he was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools with dials and wires. Now when we talk about the county inspector, so the county inspector over here, he is a very short man, he is a very little man, and then he has, wait, I'll show it to you. He has a red little face, right, and then he has a red little face, and then he has a lot of wires and dials and a bunch of and he has a toolbox with him, right? So this is your county inspector from my imagination, but this is what is described here. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple. So this county inspector, he smiled at Margie and gave her an apple and took the teacher apart. So he took the mechanical teacher apart. Now Margie had hoped that he wouldn't know how to put it all together. So she thought, you know what, this mechanical teacher is a waste. He has been giving me so much, geography tests to do and other stuff. So she was like, you know what, please, this county inspector, she hoped that, he wouldn't know how to fix this mechanical teacher. But then obviously he did, but then she just hoped. But he knew how all right, and after an hour or so he knew all of this, right? How to put the mechanical teacher back in place. So after an hour or so, he did it, and there was this whole black screen which was there, right? So there it was again, large and black and ugly, with a big screen on which all her lessons were shown, and the questions were asked. That wasn't so bad. The part Marie hated. Okay, let's see what's given here. Let's break it down. So obviously the county inspector, he obviously he fixed the whole mechanical teacher, and then this mechanical teacher's face, again, it was very ugly, and then it was black and a very large screen, and then on that large screen, the lessons for Margie, it was shown, and the questions were also asked. But then that wasn't the worst part for Margie. The part Margie hated, let's see what she hated. So the part that she hated the most was the slot where she had to put her homework and test papers. So there was this small slit or a slot, okay. So she, after doing her homework, she had to put it in the slot, and then the county inspector would, not the county inspector, my bad, the mechanical teacher would correct it and give it to her, right? So she had to put her all that test papers and all homework and assignments, whatever she was doing, she had to put that in that slot, right? So she always had to write them down in punch code. So she had to do her assignments in punch code. They made her learn when she was 6 years old. So she learned how to write this punch code when she was 6 years old. Okay, and then the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. So after she was done with the test, or if she was done with the homework, she used to write it in punch code, and then she would submit it right in the slot which was given, and then the mechanical teacher calculated her marks and gave her what was wrong, right, everything like that. Okay, and then he gave her the marks in no time. So the inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Margie's head. So after that county inspector, after he was done, repairing that mechanical teacher, he smiled at Margie, and then he gave a pat right on Margie's head. He said to her mother, it's not the little girl's fault. So he said that over here, it's not Margie's fault, right? It's the mechanical teacher's fault, Mrs. Jones. So over here, the name for Margie's mother is Mrs. Jones. So I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick. So the county inspector over here is exaggerating that the geography sector, right? It was geared for a little too quick, right? It was a little too quick. So those things happen sometimes. It was a very normal issue and it happens a lot. So I have slowed it up to an average 10-year-old level. So this county inspector has slowed the whole thing up and then he has slowed it up for a 10-year-old level. Okay, actually the overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory. So whatever progress Margie has been making, it's quite satisfactory, it's quite satisfying. And he patted Margie's head again. Okay, so let's see the next paragraph. Margie was disappointed. She had been hoping they would take the teacher away altogether. So she was very disappointed. You know why? She thought that they were gonna take the teacher away for a good while, but then that never happened. So she was obviously pretty angry, disappointed, hating, whatever hatred she has, whatever. So she had, yeah. So they had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. So, you know why she was disappointed? She thought that they would also take my mechanical teacher away, but because Tommy's teacher, right? The Tommy's mechanical teacher would be taken, was taken away for a month. Why? Because his history sector, right, which was there, it had completely blanked out. Nothing was there, so it was completely blanked and stuff like that. So she said to Tommy, why would anyone write about school? So that's why she hated school. So she thought, why would anyone write about school? It's so boring and crooked. But let's see what's the next part. Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes. So he looked at her with very superior eyes, like strange eyes. Because it's not our kind of school, stupid. So he told to Tommy told to Margie, it's not the same kind of school that we have here. It was a very different type of school, right? So this is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So this was centuries ago that they had, right? And then he added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully, centuries ago. Again, he told the word, right, centuries ago, very loftily. Now what is loftily? Very in a superior way, right? So Margie was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago. She read the book over his shoulder for a while, then said, anyway, they had a teacher. Now, Margie was like, you know what? Margie was really hurt because of her mechanical teacher, and she was like, I don't know what kind of school they had at that time, but then she read the book, right, from Tommy's shoulder. And then then said that they had a teacher. Now, let's see. And they had a teacher, it was a man. So the teacher that we have in our schools is a man. Now it can be a woman, but over here it's explained that it was a man. Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher, it was a man. A man? How could a man be a teacher? Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions. A man isn't smart enough. So now Maggie is telling, okay, they had a man, okay, as a teacher. But over here Tom is actually telling they had a man, okay, as a teacher. And then Margie's like, a man? How can a man be a teacher? I thought men wouldn't be so educated. But then over here Tommy is saying that, what did the teacher do over here? He gave boys and girls homework, he taught them stuff, and then even asked them questions. So Margie is like, a man isn't smart enough. But then Tommy is like, sure he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. So he is saying that, my father has much as knowledge as my mechanical teacher. He all he knows almost as much, I betcha. So he's putting a bet, right? He's giving a bet. What he's saying is that, my father knows as much, but almost as much as my mechanical teacher. So obviously, man can be teachers. So Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. Margie wasn't ready to agree, right? To agree with that. She was disagreeing with that. She said, I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me. Now she is like, I wouldn't want a man, right, in my house to teach me. Who knows, right? You wouldn't want a stranger in your house, obviously, right? So that would be one case. Let me just see. Yeah. So Tommy screamed with laughter. He bursted out with laughter. You don't know much. So he's like, Margie, you don't know much. The teachers didn't live in the house. So they didn't come to the house. They didn't live in the house. They had a special building, and all the kids went there. So there's a special building, and then all of the kids will be going into that special building, including the teachers. And all the kids learned the same things. All of the kids which were there in that building learned the whole same thing, right? So sure, if they were the same age. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently. Now, Margie is telling that my mom says what? That a teacher needs to be adjusted, right, about how a kid's learning progress. Now, when we talk about different institutions, right, there will be one point they will be tracking your progress and something like that, and every kid needs to be taught differently. So that's what is over here. That's the gist given here by her mother. This is the same way they didn't do it that when they when then. So they didn't do it the same way, right? They weren't, set for the whole thing with all the kids' minds. They were just focusing on every single kid. No, they can't do that. They have to teach a lot of kids, right? So they didn't do the same thing when in the before years. So if you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. So we had Tommy telling to Margie, if you don't like this thing, you don't have to read the book. I didn't say I didn't like the book, like it. So Margie said quickly. So she's like, I didn't say that I didn't like the book. It was great, okay. So she wanted to read about those funny schools. So she wanted to read all of those funny schools, right? They weren't even half finished when Margie's mother called, Margie, school. So here, Margie's mom, right, Mrs. Jones, she's calling Margie for school. They weren't even half finished, right, when they were reading. So Margie looked up. Not yet, Mama. So Margie said to her mom that, not yet, Mama, let me just read this book for a few more minutes, then I'll do school. But Mrs. Jones is like, now, right, now, said Mrs. Jones, and it's probably time for Tommy too. So she says that now it's time for probably that Tommy also has to do school too. So you also come right now to do school, and yeah. So Margie said to Tommy, can I read the book some more with you after school? So Margie is saying to Tommy that, can I read this book with you like after school, right? So maybe, he said nonchalantly. He walked away whistling, the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. So now he said, maybe, maybe all right, we'll see. And then he just went whistling with that dusty old book which was there with the crinkly old yellow pages, right? And he tucked it beneath his arm and then he walked away. And for your information, there's this word that is used, that is nonchalantly. Now, what is nonchalantly? It's like not showing much interest or enthusiasm, right? It's just carelessly. He's just walking away. And then Margie went into the schoolroom. It was right next to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. So Margie again went to the schoolroom, and then there was this boring old mechanical teacher waiting for her, and then he's ready to take the lesson for her, right? So it was always on at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday. So it was on the same time every single day, but except leaving Saturday and Sunday because it was the weekend. And then over here, the mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. Now let's see what was he flashing. So because her mother said little girls learn better if they learned at regular hours. Now over here, there was this slide, right, where we discussed that the whole mechanical teacher would be on the same time. There was a fixation of times, right, for the every single day. For example, 7 to 8 you're supposed to study. So that was this case, that at regular hours the mechanical teacher was on and ready to take lessons for Maggie. So that's what her mother said, that little girls, they learn better at regular hours. The screen was lit up and it said, "Today's arithmetic lesson is on addition of proper fractions. Please insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot." So the screen was lit up, and then the mechanical teacher said, "You know what? Today we're going to be learning on that arithmetic lessons on maths, that we're going to be learning about that addition of proper fractions. So please insert your homework so I can check it, and then we can move on." So Margie did so with a sigh. She was thinking about the old school they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom, going home together at the end of the day. They learned the same things, so could help one another with homework and talk about it. And teachers were people. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. When we add fractions half and 1 by 4. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. Okay. So now over here, Margie, just took her homework, and then she uh, put her homework in the slot with a sigh. It was a quite little sad face, and then she did it with, whatever. And then she was thinking, she had a thought. What was her thought? That she was thinking about the old schools that were there, right, in her grandfather's age when he was a little boy, right? So she was thinking about that. So she was thinking that, all the kids from the neighborhood, they came together, they came laughing, sitting together in the schoolroom, shouting, and then they were sitting all together, right, in the schoolroom, and then they were having fun. And then after school was dismissed, they were going home together at the end of the day, right, and then they were enjoying, and they also learned the same things, so they could help each other with their homework if someone was struggling with it, and they could even talk about it. And then all their teachers, they were people, right? So over here now, after that was her thought for Margie. And then the mechanical teacher, he is teaching the arithmetic lesson. So on the screen it's flashing when we add the numbers 1 by 2 and 1 by 4, how we can add them like that. And Margie was thinking how great fun they had, right? The kids must have loved it in those old ages, and they had a lot of fun. And then she was thinking about the fun they had. So this chapter's name is derived from the last word, right? She was thinking about the good old days when the kids were, just enjoying and having fun. So this is how the chapter's name is derived, and the chapter's name is the fun they had. With this note, we have completed the whole chapter. So if you would like, I can bring you up with the question answers if you want. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also share this video again. And I hope you had great fun learning this chapter. This chapter was really fun to read and explain. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned really good lessons. So make sure for watching these more videos. So be tuned, I'll be uploading more videos like this. So till then, for now, I'll take a leave from you all. Bye, take care.